All right, today we're heading deep into the heart of the Indian Himalayas, to a place that's just breathtakingly beautiful and incredibly important, the state of Uttarakhand. You know, it's this land of sacred rivers and towering snow-capped peaks. But here's the thing, this jewel of India is under some serious pressure, kind of caught between its own natural wonders and some very real growing dangers.
And that brings us to the big question we're going to tackle in this explainer. What really happens when that kind of stunning beauty collides with immense danger? How does a fragile paradise like this even survive when it's being threatened by us, by human activity, and by the raw, untamed power of nature itself? Well, let's dive in and find out.
So first off, what makes this place so special? I mean, what are we really talking about here? Well, Uttarakhand is a true Himalayan treasure trove. It's what scientists call a biodiversity hotspot, which is just a fancy way of saying the variety of life there is absolutely mind-blowing.
What's so cool about it is the sheer range of environments you find packed into one region. Seriously, in just a single trip, you can go from these steamy, lush tropical forests and climb all the way up to these freezing, high-altitude alpine meadows. And it's that dramatic change in elevation that acts like an engine, just driving this incredible biodiversity and creating all these little pockets for life to flourish.
In all that diversity, it gives us a real A-list cast of wildlife. Down in this lower forest, you've got the legendary Bengal tiger prowling around. But if you go way up to the high peaks, you're in the territory of the almost mythical snow leopard. The skies are literally colored by the Himalayan mono, that's the state bird, while the highest meadows are home to the sacred Brahma Kamal flower. Every single one is a vital thread in this incredibly complex web of life.
Now, with so much precious life to protect, you gotta have some guardians, right? A whole network of them has been set up. You can think of these protected areas as modern-day fortresses, but instead of protecting against armies, they're fortresses of life, built to stand against the threat of extinction.
And the scale of this whole effort is pretty huge. We're talking about more than 10 major national parks and wildlife sanctuaries scattered all across the state. Each one is a crucial piece of this conservation puzzle, working to safeguard these really fragile ecosystems.
Among all these fortresses, two of them are real global heavyweights, even recognized by UNESCO. First, you've got Jim Corbett National Park. It's actually India's oldest, and it's a haven for tigers down in the foothills. Then, way up high, you have the remote Nanda Devi National Park, a fortress of ice and rock, which is home to the snow leopard. They're two totally different worlds, but both are absolutely critical for conservation.
But, like we hinted at in the beginning, this paradise is under some serious pressure. The really delicate balance that keeps this whole region going is being threatened from a bunch of different directions. And honestly, it's creating a very, very fragile situation.
So the wildlife and the ecosystems here, they're basically fighting a battle on two fronts. On one side, you have the constant, relentless pressure from human activity. And on the other, you have the ever-present danger of natural hazards in a really volatile mountain landscape. Let's break down that human impact a bit. You've got habitat loss, forests being cleared for roads, cities, and farms, leaving animals with nowhere to go. Then there's poaching. The illegal wildlife trade is still a huge problem. Pollution is another big one, poisoning the very rivers that are the lifeblood of the region. And finally, you even have these unwelcome invaders, invasive species, that can totally throw off the natural balance.
And then, there's the raw, unpredictable power of nature. This region's history is written in natural disasters. The 1991 earthquake was devastating. The 2013 floods, people called it the Himalayan tsunami, were just catastrophic. But this isn't just about the past. The threat is constant. Landslides and flash floods aren't rare events here. They are a dangerous reality of life in these mountains, every single year.
Okay, so you've got this two-front battle going on, against human pressure and against natural disasters. So what's the path forward? How in the world do you go about conserving such a fragile balance?
Well, the answer really lies in having a smart, planned conservation strategy. And this isn't just about playing defense or cleaning up messes. It's about having a proactive plan to protect these natural resources. And that plan really breaks down into two main approaches. The first strategy is called in situ conservation. All that means is protecting species right where they live, on-site in their natural habitat. That's the whole point of national parks and sanctuaries. The second path is ex situ conservation. This is when you protect them off-site,
in places like zoos or botanical gardens. You can think of it like an insurance policy. It's a crucial backup plan to save a species from disappearing from the planet forever.
And to deal with all those natural threats, there's a 4-part playbook. It all starts with preparedness, getting ready before a disaster ever hits. Then when it does, you have the immediate response. After that comes recovery, which is all about rebuilding. And maybe the most important step is the last one, mitigation. That's where you learn from what happened and build things smarter and safer to lessen the impact of the next disaster. It's a constant cycle of getting more resilient.
When you really think about it, this fight for Uttarakhand's future is about so much more than just one place on a map. It's a powerful reminder that protecting biodiversity isn't some kind of optional luxury. It is absolutely essential for keeping our whole planet healthy and stable, which, in the end, is what supports our own lives too.
And that leaves us with one last really big question to think about. In these incredibly fragile places like Uttarakhand, and there are many others all over the world, how do we find the right balance between our need for progress and our duty to preserve? Finding the answer to that, well, that's probably the greatest challenge of our time.